Then there is the matter of the African risk premium. When African entities are borrowing from the market, the combined effects of debt situation, rising interest rates, and rising cost of living are resulting in severe macroeconomic and financial instability. 70% of Africa's economies are at severe risk from the Russian war in Ukraine. The World Bank tells us that subsequent to the conflict, the number of poor people in sub-Saharan Africa would rise from 413 million to 463 million this year. And we in Africa are also facing the risk of the so-called taper tantrums as investors exit our markets, thereby exacerbating the increasing cost of borrowing.
I would like now to invite Mr. Nana Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, to the stage, please.
Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank the President of the European Commission, Her Excellency Frau Ursula von der Leyen, for the invitation to be part of this year's European Development Days. It has been 2 years of virtual meetings since the outbreak of COVID-19, so it feels good to be able to meet again in person to chart a sustainable course for our collective future, particularly that of Europe and Africa. Although the initial response was somewhat flawed, the level of global cooperation witnessed in the fight against the ravages of COVID-19 demonstrates the importance of multilateralism as a progressive tool to finding solutions to the plethora of global issues. The theme chosen for this year's event, Global Gateway, Building Sustainable Partnership for a Connected World, is thus happily apt in view of the times. Excellencies, global efforts to help countries correct the devastation caused by the pandemic and also achieve the UN 2030 Sustainable Development Goals are coming up short. Finance and investment needs of developing countries have increased as COVID-19 has not only reversed years of progress, but has also revealed critical gaps in infrastructure in areas such as healthcare and digital connectivity. Sadly, the prospects for us in the developing world, making up lost ground through inclusive and sustainable recovery efforts, have been further severely undermined in recent months by the consequences of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which are having a negative impact on commodity and fuel prices, stoking a food crisis, and provoking financial market volatility. Though the bombs might be dropping on cities half a world away, they're hitting our pockets not only in Ghana and in Africa, but also in much of the developing world. Indeed, a recent United Nations report estimates that 70% of Africa's economies are at severe risk from the Russian war in Ukraine. The World Bank tells us that subsequent to the conflict, the number of poor people in sub-Saharan Africa would rise from 413 million to 463 million this year, an increase of 15 million persons. In the midst of this, 18 African economies have experienced credit downgrades, even when all economies are suffering adverse fallout from last year's pandemic, and we in Africa are also facing the risk of the so-called taper tantrums as investors exit our markets, thereby exacerbating the increasing cost of borrowing. At this moment, support for non-IMF program countries to alleviate the debt burden is limited. The initial facility, designed by the G20 countries to offer respite to economies with elevated debt challenges, the Debt Service Suspension Initiative, DSSI, has expired since December 2021 and has not been renewed. Beyond the DSSI, the G20 Common Framework promised a comprehensive solution to the debt issue. To date, the few countries that took on the associated risk by applying have yet to receive the much-needed relief. In these trying times, the amount of $650 billion United States dollar special drawing rights approved for the IMF in August 2021 was meant to provide significant relief. However, based on allocation principles, economies in Africa got a total of only 33 billion United States dollars, about 5%. Moreover, the promise to reallocate some 100 billion United States dollars of the SDR allocations to African economies, agreed to at the Paris summit in May 2019, has so far yielded about 36 billion United States dollars in pledges as of April 2022. Then there is the matter of the African risk premium, when African entities are borrowing from the market, which increases the cost of capital and which must be addressed, especially as Africa provides the highest return on investments obtainable anywhere and has a good record of debt repayment. Likewise, we must deal together with tax dodging and illegitimate commercial transactions by multinationals, which account for 60% of the annual 88 billion United States dollars of illicit financial flows from the African continent. In this regard, the recent pledge from the G7 countries to exact a new global minimum tax rate of 15% on multinationals, regardless of where they are based, is a step in the right direction, even if the rate is low. The combined effects of debt situation, rising interest rates, and rising cost of living are resulting in severe macroeconomic and financial instability. What is clear is that the ensuing damage cannot be cured so easily with the limited fiscal tools at our disposal and national policy adjustments. Excellencies, the long-standing relationship between Africa and Europe, founded on ties of blood, culture, geography, and history, should serve as a platform for enhanced cooperation between us. Indeed, no one needs to tell us that the issues of peace, progress, and prosperity in Africa and Europe are deeply intertwined, which presuppose that ensuring the development of Africa should be in our common interest. Now more than ever, strong partnership between Europe and Africa, reinforced political dialogue, and expanded cooperation in the fields of economic growth and international security are required. We have to work together to achieve our goals, including a fair, equitable process of energy transition, which recognizes that the entire African continent is responsible for less than 4% of global emissions and which safeguards the prospects of Africa's development. It is for these reasons that the establishment of the €300 billion Global Gateway Package by the European Union, which aims to boost public and private investment in the areas of infrastructure, energy, and green transition, digital transformation, growth and jobs, transport and human development over the next 7 years is very much welcomed. This package must be innovative in its approaches to infrastructure investments and financing, and should be characterized by demand-driven projects which deliver on African-defined priorities. I'm hopeful that over these 2 days, the series of high-level panel sessions and debates framed around the 5 key investment areas of Global Gateway, that is digital, climate and energy, transport, health, education and research, will produce outcomes that will prove beneficial in the successful implementation of infrastructural developments across Africa. In the next few years, we must be able to see tangible projects across Africa as proof of the fruits of the strategic partnership that exists between Europe and Africa. Excellent relations between Europe and Africa are essential to global security in this 21st century, which should lead us onto the path of shared progress and prosperity. Your Excellencies, I thank you for your attention.